Afternoon, everyone. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills, and yeah, first things first, I did get a haircut finally, and no more bangs. I decided since I went through the process of letting this grow out, I'll continue to let it grow out and see how I like it. It's been a long time since I've been without bangs, but unfortunately when I wore bangs, I didn't go to the hairdresser often enough, and I trimmed them myself, and sometimes they turned out okay, and sometimes I had to wait a couple more weeks and fix what I had messed up. So this way I don't have to worry about it. I can just let it grow one length, and when I can get to the hairdresser, she does all the work rather than me. So we'll see how that works out. Anyway, today I am going to, actually Mark yesterday had asked me for some potatoes. He was going to make some home fries, and I checked through my pantry, and the only jar of potatoes left was one jar of French fries, and he did use those. And I thought, okay, well, here's an opportunity for me to replenish my potato, pantry potato, and test out my Tattler lids. And I know that many people have been using Tattler lids forever. These are a first time use for me. Well, actually a second. I used the rings but not the lids of 4 of them. So now I've got 8 left from that package, and I'm going to do all 8 in potatoes, canned potatoes with those Tattler lids, and if I have extra, then I'll just use the regular lids. So I have the lids and the rings, and they already were on the stove and boiled, and I've turned them down. I've got my canner all set up and ready. It's got 3 and a bit quarts of water in there, and I've got my 8 jars, and I should pull out more, but we'll see how many I need. And I'm sure nobody wants to watch me peel potatoes. That is probably one of the most tedious jobs. So anyway, I've started to peel them, and we'll cut them, and then we will fill up the jars, and I'll get back to you at that point. Okay? Okay, all my potatoes are peeled and cleaned, and now I'm just going to cut them. I'm doing chunks today, and in case I haven't said it in the past, I just do raw pack when it comes to potatoes, because my feeling is that they cook enough in the canner as it is, and unless I wanted mashed potatoes, and which I don't. I mean, I don't want mashed potatoes all the time, so I always do a raw pack. So at this point, I'm just going to chunk this up. And the chunks can be used, I asked Mark what does he prefer, since he's doing the cooking these days. Would he prefer slices or chunks? And he says either one works for him. So, fine, I'll do chunks then, not a problem. And the reason I'm not doing French fries is because fries, I would have to put them in a quart-sized jar, and right now, when I do fries like this, I only want them in a pint-sized jar, because that is all that we would eat in one sitting. So, and these can also be used to make potato salad, and we make quite a number of potato salad. Well, we do eat potato salad in the summer, not so much any other time of year, but in the summer certainly. So I'm going to fill up these 8 jars first that I'm going to use for with the Tattler lids, and I'm sure I should get 8 jars out of this, and any extra I'll just use the regular wide mouth canning lids. Now we'll just have to dig up more jars, but of course the whole issue here is not so much canning potatoes as it is determining how well the Tattler lids work for me. They're very expensive here, and the question is, would that expense be worth it for someone who, well, like I said, I would have to use the Tattler lids about 4 to 5 times in order to recoup the money that I would spend on the regular ones. And yes, they do last that long. I understand you can use them 4 or 5 times, but that's what, 4 or 5 years? And all your outlay is up front. Now, I'm not suggesting it's bad, but for Canada, the cost is very expensive. I know that in the US it doesn't cost as much, but what with the exchange rate and shipping and all of that, it gets very expensive here. And I understand that you can get free shipping in the US. Well, you can't to Canada, so that's something else going not in our favor for this. Okay, it looks like I will get more than 8 jars, but not that much more, perhaps 10 to 12. Okay, so I will get back to you when I've finished cutting up all these potatoes. Now you want these jars to be full, but you also want an inch headspace, and I found that if I tap them down, you find that you can certainly fit a whole lot more in there. So I'm just going to do that to every one of them right now and see where I am if I have to lose one jar. Or just move a few pieces around. Now I've got a pot of boiling water on the stove, and I should also likely get the kettle on just to make sure that I have enough hot water for these. Yeah, that's going down nicely. When you pour the hot water in them, it'll probably do the same thing, but I want to just make sure I have an inch headspace on each one. Because right now they look like they are over full, but they're not. Just chunks like this don't pack all that tightly unless you pack them down the way I'm doing. And I think that's good. I'm not going to try to take one jar out and stuff them all, but this is just my way of ensuring that I have the headspace that I need. And especially with these Tattler lids, because I understand that they definitely, there's less margin for error with headspace with the Tattler lids. Okay, next step. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in each jar, about half a teaspoon, and non-iodized salt. It can be sea salt, it could be pickling salt, it could be pink Himalayan salt if you prefer, as long as it's the non-iodized. And you could also leave the salt out if you don't really want salt in your potatoes. It is not necessary for the preservation, but it adds flavor. Okay, so I'm done with my salt. Now I'm going to get my lids, my vinegar, my water ready. Here we go. Now, first thing of course is boiling water. To 1 inch headspace. Okay, I think I'd like to err on the side of a bigger headspace rather than a smaller one with the Tattler lids. Now, I'm going to use a chopstick because that's what I have. Clean the rims. I'm going to do a couple at a time here. And I've got the rubber and lid combo. I did put them all together before I put them in the boiling water. And a ring. And I'm going to tighten these down the way I normally would, just so that you feel that there is contact. I know that they said to perhaps not as tight as what I'm doing, but when I did that the last time I had failures. So these three are ready. They can go into the canner right now. I think that we're doing fine. I think I'm beginning to really like these Tattlers, which is not a good thing. Okay, I've finished processing these potatoes. I like what I'm seeing with these Tattler lids, and before this video has been finished, before I finish editing, I'll know if any of them did not seal or what the issue is, but it looks like everything is sealing right now. So if there's any change, I'll let you know. Anyway, I'm very, very pleased with the results. Surprisingly. This is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.